Welcome to Arts Dynamics Talks. I am Sofie Marin, founder and CEO of Arts Dynamics, and I'm thrilled and super excited to be back for yet another season of these talks. Every week, I will speak with leading creators and change makers in the intersection of music, arts, and culture on the one hand, and tech and business, entrepreneurship, and impact on Earth and in space. So much is going on in the world right now. It's really hard to stay on top of things by ourselves, but I wholeheartedly believe that if we come together, we can figure things out together as well. So you will notice as we move into 2025 and moving forward that it will be very much on point with what's going on right now in the world, and we will not only speak with our own partners and people in our own network, but also really I want to make sure that we tune into what's happening locally and also in countries and cities around the world and globally. So today I am very, very happy and honored to invite and to present to you two friends that I've made on the quest that I have to build a cultural center on Mars. And as you can see in front of you on the screen, we've got John Nilsson, who is a CEO of Imitera, and Petra Kaur, who's CEO of Imitera. And first of all, let's just say hello and welcome to both John and Petra.
Hello, Sophie.
Hi.
Good to see you, and hi everybody who's joining us. I can see that people are tuning in live, so feel free to just comment below the video. We'd love to know who you are, where you are from. If you have any questions, we'll see if we can pick up any questions up afterwards, but please feel free to just interact with us during this session. So let's dive straight into this. John, tell us more about yourself and Imitera. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, as we stated before, I'm CEO of Imitera and also founder. And I've been in the XR space for maybe as long as I can remember. I wrote a C paper on cooperation in virtual reality back in 1994. So I've been around, so to speak. This is my second company, Imitera, which means imitate in Swedish, was started in 2018, and we've been working in the immersive space, and it has been very exciting times.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. And hello, David. I saw we just had a comment. So hi, David. Great to have you here as well. So what about you, Petra? What made you join Imitera? Tell us more about you as well, please.
Yes. Hi. I have a background within communication, marketing, sales, business development. And I think that XR is a very interesting field because it facilitates doing what I see challenges around, to create pictures in the head of a receiver and or a customer or whoever. That's a real big problem because you think that you have described something very well, but without experiencing it, you're not sure you're sharing the same picture. So with XR, you can actually share exactly the same experience, the same picture, the same information. And I think that is fantastic. And that's why I'm interested in this tech. And Imitera is a lovely little company with very skilled developers and a lot of knowledge within the field. So it's great to be a part of Imitera.
That sounds awesome. And for people who might not understand or know what XR means, would you mind just explaining that?
Yes, so XR is extended reality, and that is an abbreviation for, or a joint word that is covering virtual reality, so VR, and augmented reality, AR, and mixed reality. That is when you mix the virtual objects in your everyday life. So on my table, I can have an engine or another product that I want to interact with, but I still will see the surroundings around me. So mixed reality is probably what we will have in our glasses in the future.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. And also for anybody listening in either live or afterwards, if there are any words or any jargon that we're using that you feel that you don't understand, please let us know. We're happy to explain it. That's the whole point of these talks as well, and what we want to build with Arts Dynamics. We want to find a way to easily communicate about these things and to create this playground for artists and creators to really play around with new technology and to see what's possible with what's happening right now in this field. It's really, really exciting. So listen, I actually met you, John, a few months ago now, when it was actually at Epicenter. We are partners with Epicenter and Epicenter Stockholm. And you were showcasing a space travel to Mars, and you had Fuglesang, who was basically inviting us to Mars. And I say to people, you had me at hello, because you helped me put these goggles on, these glasses, and we went to Mars, and you helped me step down, to go into this elevator down to Mars, and I had to hold on to your arm. One has to remember, I'm 50 after all, so I'm not a youngster anymore, and it was such a great experience to just be there and to experience this. And I have this vision of building a cultural center on Mars, and we can talk more about that later, but I would just love for you to share a little bit about what made you create this journey, this adventure, where we could actually go to Mars, and tell us more about that, and not only where that idea came from, but also how you created it.
Well, we have created some things for Fuglesang, Sweden's first astronaut, before, and we had some collaboration with him, and therefore we thought it would be a good way to introduce people to the XR space by doing an experience that is focused on Mars. So what we did with Fuglesang, which actually the Swedish Space Agency licensed for the World Expo a few years back, was an experience where Fuglesang takes you down to the Mars surface, and you get to restart a Mars rover. One, I actually have a smaller version behind me there in Lego, and it's a simple mission, but it is it enables everything that I think is important about immersive and embodied experiences, where you take part in, you switch worlds basically. And I think it's, even though it has a few years on its back, it's still a very, very powerful experience.
Yeah, I have to agree. And even with a few years, the details that you have in it, and the experience that you get to feel when you actually step down onto Earth, no, onto Mars, not Earth. It's just so incredible. And I just wish for anybody listening in that if you get a chance to try out any of these spatial headsets or VR, XR headsets, please do, because it is. I think especially for creatives, once we see it and we can envision it, then suddenly all these ideas just spring to mind. And what about you, Petra? I mean, you are obviously working together with John. What has been your experience so far, since you're also working with this Mars adventure that you have?
Yeah, I can see all the benefits for when you are showcasing and people have an idea about what is VR. They maybe tried something and often connected to a computer or a gaming platform or stuff like that. And this is something else. You are often, in a sense, not limited, but using hand controls, for example, and people who are not gamers might be a bit of a threshold to do that, to navigate in this space. And Imitera has an idea of working as realistically as possible. And I think that is something new to some people, where you only use your hand controls, and you can navigate through the experiences just being there. You don't have to think about the tech. You can follow the instructions. You should put your hand on the hand scanner, put in that code, stand here, experience this, look at that, do this, do that. And you are guided in this experience by Christer Fuglesang, but that could be any experience where you're guided through a natural and very realistic setting. And that, I think, is something that really facilitates how we can, it's scalable, because then ordinary people can actually use this for education, for example, or for showcasing products. So what we see is a growing interest among enterprises and businesses. They request this kind of options when as a sales tool or educational tool, and in a sense it's nothing new, but it has been a big leap technically the latest years that allows us to produce and develop better experiences.
Yeah, I love that. And I think what you just said is super important. XR and these technologies and this talk today, that when we are having this opportunity to talk about these things, this is just for all my friends out there, anyone working in the field of arts, culture, entertainment, and who are looking for new ways forwarding. And this is like a cross-sectorial thing. I mean, with XR and all these new emerging technologies, this is the future. This is the future, and it is so new, so brand new, and not many people in the world right now that are using this. So, but it's moving rather fast. And the fact that we're being able now to hold this talk today, we will share with you during this talk, and hopefully you will be able to answer some questions, Petra and John, with your expertise. But this is really just the beginning, and that's what we want to do with this community too. So whenever you have questions about all these new technologies, let us know, because if you tap into and learn more about XR, VR, all these things that we talk about, you will have an edge. So we hear a lot in the cultural and creative industries about the challenges right now, and people are losing their income, they're losing ways of monetizing and marketing and selling what they're doing. This technology that we're discussing here today will help you find new ways forward, and we'll show you some real examples of how that could look like later on. So
about one thing, we can share the link for the Mars experience, because that is available for anyone that has a headset like Meta Quest 2 or 3, for example. So we can share that afterwards, right, John? That wouldn't be
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I would love to talk to you about our workshop that we did when we workshopped a cultural center on Mars. We were invited to Epicenter, and we had an opportunity to workshop and to showcase the vision for a cultural center on Mars. And you came in, and people were able to try on these glasses and walk on Mars. And I would just love to hear your thoughts from that day and the feedback that you got from the people there on the day.
Yeah, I can start because I thought about the context. I mean, we are like your strategic partner for immersive experiences, and we are the supplier for the tech platform that we are developing, the XR platform. So from that perspective, we came into this event together with you, and we created like a workshop to just get the thoughts from the community around you, and to have ideas. You prepared like an idea box where you can put, what do you want to bring to Mars? If you capsule some art and send it to Mars, what do you want to see in the cultural house on the Mars? And that was, I think that was a great idea, and we love co-creation and the values that you stand for. So that was a part of the thoughts that I wanted to share with you about that event. And we had a lot of interesting philosophical talks, because it's very creative being in that immersive space, and it opened up ideas.
Yeah, and what did people say to you when they were there and they were trying on these glasses?
I mean, for some people it was quite a transformative experiences, which is that often happens. I mean, for the first time they are they have the ability to actually be somewhere else totally without traveling, and that is something new. And I mean, what we want to do with our platform is to enable different kinds of experiences, and also the creators to be able to create their own experiences and share them on our platform. What we ask in return is that the experiences are of a certain quality, of course, so that it perceives as serious for the onlookers or the other visitors that come to these places, which I feel is quite lacking at this time.
Yeah.
What do you see in other platforms, and like in social, in the social space, so to say, John? What is your experience from what's present and most used out there?
I mean, the other platforms that are available I don't feel that they take the space serious, and it's more fun and play, experimenting, and I'm pro experimenting, but then in the end you have to kind of try and do something serious in order for people who are not into XR and technology and don't understand this experimental phase in this, and just want to enjoy, for instance, art or whatever they want to enjoy or be told about. And in order for that to happen, we need to have another focus, a more professional focus on what we do. Yeah.
I think this is an interesting conversation to have, and I'd love to hear from our listeners and viewers as well what your experience is with this, because we are literally just starting. We're building out this arts tech cluster or arts tech community, where in the cultural and creative industries, we just want to make sure that the creatives meet with the techies and vice versa to play around and to see what can come out of that. The reason for a cultural center is just because in a cultural center, you can do anything. You can even have an architecture that's actually creating the construction of the house, and builders to build the house. And I know someone said, but Sofie, to build a cultural center on Mars, maybe that should be underground because you have all these sandstorms. And I hadn't even thought about that. And I should, because I'm on the board of Fuglesang Space Center, so I should know about these things. But it's like, and the brains of creatives, once they start to think about these things, it's just amazing. But the idea for the cultural center is just because it basically has all art forms, and what you're saying, John, is what we're discovering is that we enter the world into tech from different perspectives, right? And some want to play around and be more in a gamification, Fortnite world, and others might want to do more high-end experiences, some luxury experiences. And I would love to hear from all of you in our community. What do you want to do? What do you want to build? If you could be part of a cultural center on Mars, what would you want to create? What kind of technology would you want to use? And what I love about our strategic partnership that we have formed now, and I'm so grateful for that, thank you so much, is that we're able to start to sort of create a campfire around this. And we can come together and we can workshop together and see what comes out of it. So literally, obviously, we don't have all the answers. This is really just the very beginning. So based on that workshop, what happened was that we had one idea from, several of the people who attended, they said on the back of that workshop that they would want us to create an Arts Dynamics art gallery where they could showcase their art in the immersive world, and for us then to be the gallery for them, to help distribute their art. So we brought that idea to a global game jam hackathon the weekend after. And for those of you who feel like, I don't know about what a hackathon is, it's literally just us coming together over a weekend and connecting the creative minds with the techie people and see what we can build together. So we brought that idea from this workshop that we just talked about to a hackathon the weekend after and built out our own first Arts Dynamics spatial art gallery. And that was pretty amazing. And John, you were there too. So what were your thoughts from that hackathon based on your evening that you were there?
Well, I mean, it's great to see all these creative people get together and just brainstorm ideas and that they are so willing to help out some people, like in your case, that you're not a programmer yourself, but they enabled you to be able to create a start gallery, for instance, and I mean that's fantastic. So I mean it's a great start.
Yeah, it is a great start, and to be open-minded, like you said, when you have no experience in the tech side to program, but then you partner up with someone like yourself who knows how to do those things, then we can create things together. Petra, I'd love to ask you a little bit about, we had a conversation prior to this session where we also talked about core values and what's the driving force behind it all, and also how we met each other. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your core values and how you think about these things as you work together with clients and partners?
Yeah. And we found out that we share a lot of core values, and that's why we ended up in a partnership like this. So for Imitera's part, as we said before, we want to create something that is it's realistic, to be embodied experiences, and the embodiment is also about being professional, serious, and being in also a democratic space, and to scale and enable people to explore this this space in more everyday life, because right now it's a bit limited to either entertainment or very specialized development for industries, for example. So we think that using the combination of art and tech is a perfect match, because this really gives an opportunity for more people to enjoy this space. So the core values is definitely that we want to collaborate and co-create. We are open. We want to enable more people to be in this space that we think is a fantastic creative space.
Yeah, I agree. And in this community, we have people who are super experts at the very top of their game in the world of tech. And then we've also got newbies who have no idea, they've never tried anything on, and even Facebook feels like super techie to them. So if you were to give advice to someone who would want to explore this immersive world and universe that we're talking about, where do they start? I mean, even these headsets, these goggles that we're using can look strange, and we got, different ones. Can you just share a little bit about how do people enter into the world of XR and AI and VR and all of these things? Does that make sense, that question? Yeah?
Yeah, often it's in kind of a coincidence. You end up at some event or something like that, or you have to do something at work, and then you get access to one of these headsets, and it's not until you have tried this that you understand what it is. So it's extremely hard to explain this technology to anyone. Our experience, the way we do experiences, we ask the reality, sort of, how does reality work? And we try to imitate that, hence our company name. And when we've done that well, we kind of live up to our company name. And we just want to let people be people and focus on what they do best, exploring and experiencing new things, and let others enable that through our platform, basically. And the other technologies that exist out there are numerous headsets available, but I mean, it's most easy to just, you know, ask somebody in your network to that have one of these headsets, unless you have the means to get one yourself. You can buy one of these for 700 euros at the regular store here in Sweden. It's nothing special, and it starts up like a mobile phone, basically. So it's not that complicated. But of course, it's easier if you are not tech savvy or tech interested to get help from somebody else first. But our goal is that when you put these headsets on, you should be able to just continue to focus on what you do and what you want to tell, what kind of stories you want to tell.
Yeah, I think what you're saying right now is super important. And that's, I think, what I've loved about our collaboration from the very beginning. We talk about the storytelling, the bigger why behind it, the purpose, and then technology enables that. It helps you convey something. The technology in itself isn't it is a means to a larger end, if that makes sense.
I mean, if you're an up and coming artist, for instance, you want to show your work to the world. So what you would love to have, I'm not an artist in that sense, I don't know, but I imagine that you want to have your art displayed at an art gallery, you know, preferably one that is known and is a name, and that might be hard. And there is a selection, a curation from others who know art and claim they know art. So here, even though there aren't that many headsets out yet, depending on how you view this, you have between 30 million and 170 million headsets that are in use. So it's a significant number even. But then you can open up your personal art gallery in this immersive space, and it will behave exactly the same as an art gallery for you and for your viewers. And the advances in advancement in using this virtual art gallery is that if you browse through pages on a web art on a web page or on your mobile phone, you don't understand how big the art piece is, because it's not possible to convey that in a sense. But here you get if it's 2 meters wide, I mean, it will be 2 meters wide for you. And you have also the possibility to meet the artist, even though you live in different countries. And this is kind of unheard of. So it will be more focused on if you're a good artist than where you create your art. And that I think is super important as an enabler for this.
Yeah, and I love how we are able to put the power back in the hands of the artists, like you said, and what we discovered this weekend as well. Within 24 hours, and again, I have no background in coding or programming. God knows, my kid knows, that's not my forte. I do have strong visions, however, and by partnering up with someone who could help me create that in 24 hours, we had set up an art gallery. We had 3 artists featured. we struck a deal with one of them who could actually sell the art through a web place, a marketplace that I set up. It was just on the website, but we could import the website into this immersive experience. So people walking in this immersive experience could look at all these different artwork, they could listen to music, they could scroll down the marketplace, they could actually buy art there on the spot, which means the artist would get paid. We would be paid as a gallery too, since we turned into a gallery. 24 hours later, we even have our first backer to then join this cultural center. And I can actually see he's here today. So hello, and thank you so much for your support. I think that's so awesome. This is the whole point of, community-driven, community-led. And one of the biggest secrets to success for you as artists and creators now is to build your own micro-communities, build your own ecosystems. And what John and Petra is here to talk about today is how you can add a fourth layer to what you're already doing. So you have physical products and services, you can add a hybrid layer to that, you can sell digital products and services, and then thanks to people like Imitera here and others, you can also add a fourth dimension, which is this immersive space. And through that immersive space, you can sell all over the world. And just like John said, you can meet with people all over the world. And the thing is, in the immersive space, let's say you have a concert or you have an art gallery or something where normally we would be limited, the space is limited, so we can only have a limited amount of people. But obviously in the immersive world, that's not the case. You can have people from everywhere, as many as you like. And that to me is super, super exciting. So as you can tell, I get super excited about this. So for anyone who wants to know more about that art gallery thing, just check out this YouTube channel, because there is actually a video from that hackathon. But again, Petra and John, with what we're just talking about and all the possibilities, I'd love to hear your take on where we are, because tech is moving so fast right now. So what are you seeing from your lens and in your world of XR, but also in general?
Well, we have different kind of evolutions on our devices that we use for work, and the computer at a point replaced the typing machine, and then the mobile phone at a point replaced the fixed phone where you had, and now we have to move to the next area. But this doesn't replace another tech. It's more like it's replacing reality, and that is a bigger take, much bigger take, because we people know how reality works. So the challenge is immensely much bigger than just replacing one technology with another technology. This is replacing reality. And the challenges are enormous, and we just have gotten to a point where we have, actually a few years back, we got a minimum viable product, an MVP. And when I started the company back in 2018, I was exploring the XR, the VR space with a headset connected to computers at the time, and it looked fantastic. It was great, but actually I stepped away from that and focused only on what's called augmented reality, which you do with mobile phones, more or less, and just did those experiences. When the first Quest came from Meta, a standalone VR headset, all that changed overnight, because then you had the ability to actually switch realities. The only thing missing, which I solved in a couple of days, was the ability to walk freely and explore these worlds. And you've tried that, Sofie, so how that works. It enables you still need a bit of space, but it's very much smaller than the actual space that you explore. You can walk down city streets and entire museums just from your home, basically.
Yeah, I think that that's a very good point to make. That again, for anyone listening, please figure out a way to try these headsets on. We are doing our best with our Arts Dynamics Entrepreneur meetups to provide meeting spaces for you now, to try these on, like we did at this workshop. We're going to go into Eskilstuna in Sweden next week for Folk och Kultur. So I know we've got friends from the cultural and creative industries in Sweden listening right now, and some of you might actually be in Eskilstuna next week. So come by and say hello, because we actually will have both Petra and John and me there, so you can actually try these on yourself. That way it will be way easier. And we've got some things coming up in cooking and brewing as well that I can't share too much about. So please just make sure that you tune into our different channels for inside updates when we have more on that, on what I'm just sharing with you. I just saw Ro joined us as well. So hi, Ro and Tobias and Hassan. And yeah, we've got so many people joining us. It's so great to have you on. Thank you. So Petra, speaking of commercial aspects of this, what would you say are the biggest opportunity from a commercial standpoint?
Yeah, I should talk from, it should be the customers answering this, but I can refer to what our customers has told us and given their quotes about. And they value a lot that they can bring big objects to other places. So, I mean, that is one thing that is a big win for commercial entity. So, and now I take GKN Aerospace as an example. They are producing like for the spaceship for Ariane 6 that is actually in space now, and that what is called the nozzle for the engine.
Booster, you could say
the rocket booster. It weighs about 200 kilograms, and it's produced in Trollhättan, Sweden, but it's used for the rocket that was in French Guiana. So they couldn't really bring it along for fairs or when they are going to sell this technique to other space companies. So what we did for them was actually to place it in the rocket, in the virtual space. And as the customer said, they understood definitely how they were going to use that in the space, but they didn't count on that their engineers, for example, who never had seen anything, they were not able to go to French Guiana. They were not able to see the context, how they evaluated it. So there was an external value for their customers to see everything in the context, but also an internal value that was much higher than they could even think about. So it gives new aspects and new perspectives when you do such things. And you can use the 3D models for many purposes. So if you have developed a 3D model and interactivity, you can use it for sales purposes. You can use it for internal training or for motivation and discussion or for development, of course. But there are several design tools that are for CAD modeling and stuff like that. We are not talking about that. It's about experience, the objects here. So if was that the answer to your question?
Yeah, I think and what comes to mind as well is how this actually saves people money as well. I know coming from the world of performing arts, often when we do big set designs, for instance, they are very, very expensive. And if you make a little bit of a mistake, or especially when you go on touring and you need to create a set that works for different theaters, for instance, or concert halls, that can be really tricky to figure out the dimensions, and can be very expensive. It can be hard to do. Whereas with this technology, obviously you can start to work inside of this and try it out in the right dimensions. And going back to also what John said earlier, you don't need that much space to actually walk around in a lot of space. So I find from a creative, from a production, as a producer, a production perspective too, it helps save money, it helps you visualize, and that also helps commercially, because obviously it will lead to more money on the other end instead of just... Does that make sense?
I mean, it can facilitate a lot of steps on a product or object's journey through from development to commercialization. So in the exploration stage, where you don't have a prototype, for example, and it will be very expensive to produce a prototype, but you do have a CAD model for it. You can take that CAD model and do a proper context around the object. We have helped another customer who is producing an airship and to model the interior for the gondola. And from the drawings to experience the drawing and trying the living space, they found out a lot of details that I wanted to change. And of course, that was a big win for them, because that would have costed them a lot of money in there. And also traveling, as you mentioned, what are the benefits? Of course, for a sustainability perspective, there are huge wins for customers, because they can invite many people to this space from wherever on Earth. And in another case, we had like Italians, Americans, Swedes, and we were in the same experience, joining and discussing around a development project. So there are a lot of wins that doesn't come natural to before you actually experience it.
Yeah, and a word came to mind, and that is a digital twin. If you haven't heard about it, to our friends here listening in, just read up a little bit about digital twins, because that's a huge thing that's coming not only in the cultural and creative industries, but across the borders. So whatever we do in the physical realm, we now want to do in the hybrid or immersive realm. But with that, and I'm now going to switch topics slightly, but still in the same sort of spirit of what we're discussing, is to talk about, I mean, we live in 2025 as we're recording this, and there are talks that AI, and yes, I come in peace, I just want to say that, but AI is supposed to reach AGI this year, which means it will be like super smart and smarter than us. And I just wonder, from a security and safety perspective, doing what we're talking about here, and with AI now really taking these quantum leaps and what we're seeing in this realm, what are some of the dangers or some of the things we need to be a little bit on the lookout for as we now embark on this new adventure that's XR?
Well, I mean, there is, of course, a possibility to totally map out humanity's movement, so to speak. I mean, it has to know where your hands and your heads and more or less most of your body is, and where you are. If you are in a mixed reality setting, then it will know certain aspects of where you are, because it has to see things in order to compute them and fix them, so they will be adapted for the virtual objects. So I mean, yes, you will share things, but the thing is, who do you want? Who is the lesser evil here? Who do you want to share this to? And in that sense, you have to look at the manufacturers, which countries those reside in. There are talks about, or they try to do. They're working on a European XR headset, but I mean, we cannot wait. Even if they succeed, we have to work on this now. If we don't create this XR space and make it better than everybody else does, then we'll have to be in XR spaces that are coming from other countries, and you can use your imagination on what those countries are, where you have powerful governments that can pour out these technologies. And I believe that a lot of businesses will be done in the XR space in the future, and where it's easiest and the most businesses will happen is where we will be, regardless. And that is, I mean, it's quite a big picture, but we need to start to think about this now if we haven't. I mean, AI is one perspective here, but AI is based on what we already have a lot of, which is texts, images, and videos, where they have a lot of things to learn from. However, reality is a different thing, and reality is for humans. AI is for information, and cater for information. It can create images of realities, but those are still images. You don't say that I've been to the Himalayas because I saw a documentary on it on TV. But if you experience it using XR, that's, I would say, I don't say that it's 100% of the experience, but it's as close as you can get without actually being there. And especially if you have a real human guide with you that can tell you about what you're seeing, as in your case, maybe the artist at a gallery, then this experience gets very close to the real thing. But you skip the traveling, you skip the impact on the environment, and you save money doing it.
Yeah.
And you can meet a lot more people in a shorter period of time, and you can get more out. I mean, any gallery can just dream of having the possibility to theoretically have 30 million visitors. And I mean, not even, I don't even Guggenheim can have that I per year. So this is a totally new situation that we haven't seen before, and quite honest, I'm surprised that nobody moves more resolutely in this area. But we're trying. You, Sofie, Arts and Dynamics, and Imitera, we're trying to work this and set it straight. But we need help from your community and our community to realize these immersive spaces where everybody can join in and share both technology, but also culture and arts and whatever you want to share. But we need a space where we can gather that feels serious and professional. And we stop experimenting about XR and focusing on our new reality.
Yeah, so interesting. And I see so many comments here. Thank you all so much for being so engaged. That's exactly what we want with these lunch sessions. Every Thursday from now on, we're starting today with this talk for the spring season of 2025. We really want to have a conversation around these things. And exactly what John said here is about, taking our cues from all of you. What do you want? And Ro, that I mentioned earlier, and again, hi Ro, is a great example of, showing up to this. He's been to our meetups, he came to our workshop, he had this idea, we brought that into the hackathon, it turned into a gallery, we could showcase his art, and so it goes. So we also here during this talk want to invite all of you who are listening, if you have any ideas, any suggestions, if you have any proposals that you would want to put forward, let us know, because we're really just getting started. But speaking of where we are at right now and looking into the future, because we're getting slowly but surely to the end of this lunch session here, I'd love to hear your take on what are some of the most important trends for us to keep an eye on here and now and into the future. Maybe Petra, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I can start talking about the crystal ball, but I think I want just to connect to the AI question as well. And because I think in myself around data security and privacy security, etc. And I think we need to handle that as we do with any data. We need to have standards and regulations, etc. And that will affect this area as well in the same way. But it's also interesting to think, and a little bit of a warning about identification and authentication application with AI, because we will see very realistic environments and avatars in the future. So I hope that someone else develops a really, really splendid filter for deep fake and help us people to be sure that we are we and nothing else. So we can feel very confident in that space and don't have to be on our watch on is this real or is this deep fake. So I hope for that filter. I will have it. I would like it yesterday.
It sounds like Harry Potter almost, one of those.
Hello, Harry, can you come and help us? No, someone is probably developing this AI solution filter already, but I think that is something that we definitely will need to stop deep fake. Yeah,
a very a brilliant business idea. Actually,
yeah, it is. Someone that one who cracks that, it will be very rich.
Yeah, the opposite of an invisibility cloak.
Yeah, exactly. The
invisibility cloak. Yeah.
No, but about the crystal ball, I think this is also we pitch into you, John. But of course, what we see is around. We mentioned it before, hardware. And hardware has developed a lot. And you said that, John, you didn't go into the field because you don't think the hardware met the expectations and the needs for you as a user. And of course, there is better connectivity, and that is super important. We have 5G; it will develop. We will have more and faster connectivity, so the experiences will be a better resolution, better data handling, etc. So that is. Do you want to pitch in, John?
Well, I mean, what we have now is old tech in a few years. I mean, we will maybe sitting at our homes, but we will be in a talk show studio, virtual one. And we'll sit there and talk in that sense, and the audience might be an actual audience that will be sitting there. So this what we're doing now is a construction that isn't very human centric. It works, but it's not a preferable way. We would like to meet people, of course, and we would like to meet, but our schedules kind of force us to have this technology layer that we use, and I think we'll move away from that and we'll meet less, we'll travel less, but meet more often.
Yeah. Speaking of, can I just add to that? I know, especially what we're talking about now, when you create also something in the immersive world, so you don't have to travel anywhere and you meet, let's say you go to a concert. I know that happened. I think it was a Fortnite concert where they had all these people to join this big concert with this big celebrity artist. But then when that artist then did a concert in real life, it just, because so many people are online and they can be in this virtual space, it was just so crowded and so full, and they had trouble with so many people wanting to join the physical concert then. So it's nice to see how the immersive world and the physical world, how they can, for you as artists and creators, how you build that into your offer and see, like John said, you can connect with people, and Petra too, you can connect with people worldwide and build all these communities, but then you can also obviously meet them locally. I think it's just nice to do both. I just want to add something. It's so sweet. We just had a comment here. I think my creative brain just you really mind didn't just connect my dots, you turned them into a full-blown galaxy map. Thank you, Tobias.
Thank you, Tobias. That's fantastic.
I love that.
Well
yeah,
you come around.
Yes.
This is so fantastic. Thank you all so much. Okay, so looking into the crystal ball, those are the things that you've mentioned. Is there anything else? Because we love to talk about future trends to understand where we are heading with things, so that we know what steps to take today, because that is about to happen tomorrow. So any other crystal ball predictions or things to look out for?
Yeah, I think we touched it, because it's the social thing about XR, and we have seen a lot of single user experiences, and a lot is developed from gaming situation. And what we see is evolving with platforms like Horizon, etc., is the more social metaverse. I don't know if we should use that word, but in that immersive space, I think we will be more social, and you mentioned it with concerts, etc. And definitely that will be the way, because we are social from nature. We want to, and I also think within the crystal ball is that you already said it, John. People need to be people, and that will be the same in the virtual space. And we have feelings. We are created by a few factors from a neurology perspective. We have fear, we have love, we have etc. The basic feelings that we have, and that still have to be contained in this space. So if we can't replicate that and be people in the story, it won't be a success. That is my
I mean, this is the first time we have the ability to bend technology after human behavior instead of we bending us to technology. I mean, we're sitting here bending us to technology as we speak. This is our way of bending. If we were humans, we didn't have this technology, we would have to meet, and the onlookers would have to be in our presence, physical presence.
I love you said if we are humans. I would hope.
You have a
I'm human.
deep fake. Very good, John.
Yeah, that is so good. Well, listen, I'd love to hear from people who are listening to this or watching this recording, either live or the replay. Please let us know your biggest takeaway from this conversation. It's just so nice to know. What has been your biggest takeaway from this conversation that we're having here today with you all? And whilst you type that in, can I just ask John and Petra, is there anything that I haven't forgot? Is there anything I haven't asked you yet that you would just love to answer? Anything you want to share?
No, I don't want to cause a hard disk crash on other people, so we'll stop here.
Zip it. No, but maybe a big thank you is in place, because it was thank you for inviting us. This was super nice conversation, and unfortunately I can't see the viewers and the participants, but I say thank you to you as well, and I hope that we could bring something to you.
I mean, it was great to be able to share our thoughts. I mean, we believe that XR is not technology. It's a way for human to progress as humans, and that's way beyond anything. And so we just want to make this happen.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you. I see David says thank you. And David and I did a podcast. He kindly invited me to a podcast, and I'm actually having David on here as well later on. So I'm giving you a shout out there, David. Let's book that up as well. So final question for both you, Petra and John, and that is there someone we should invite to these talks?
I know that question would come up.
Yes.
We haven't prepared a brilliant answer. There are so many.
Yeah.
But I mean, the artists.
The artists. Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, well, you just get back to me if any names come out. I love to ask my guests this, because you always have these, people that you might would like to be featured here, or who might have something to add to the conversation. But you could just add that later. Well, with that, the format, as I mentioned, in 2025, we're going to make sure that we actually fit it within a lunch hour between 12 and 1 Swedish time. So I'm actually going to be on time today, lo and behold, and say for anybody listening in and you want to find out more about Imitera, go to imitera.com. I have posted the link under the show notes. artsdynamics.com is our website you can go to as well. We've got a meetup community, meetup.com, where you find information about our meetups, and also a Discord and a LinkedIn group that we're setting up now for our cultural center on Mars. We've got so many things coming your way. I'm tuning in every week from now on Thursday. So just join me. And if you have any suggestions for people to bring on to stay on top of the very latest in creativity, tech, business, entrepreneurship, and impact on Earth and in space, let me know and we'll make it happen together as a community. So thank you so much, Petra and John. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and see you again next week. Over and out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.